Imagine a scene, a vibrant Mississippi town, pulsating with the energy of homecoming weekend. Laughter, reunions, and the thrill of a high school football game fill the air. But in a horrifying instant, that joy is shattered by the deafening sound of gunfire. 6 lives are tragically cut short, and more than a dozen are left wounded, forever scarred by a senseless act of violence. In the wake of this tragedy in Leland, Mississippi, the FBI has announced the arrest of 4 individuals in connection with the mass shooting. Tevion L. Powell, 29, William Bryant, 29, and Morgan Lattimore, 25, now face capital murder charges, while Latoya A. Powell, 44, has been charged with attempted murder. As of now, it remains unclear whether these individuals have legal representation, with the Associated Press actively seeking confirmation from the Washington County Public Defender's Office. The shooting, which occurred amidst homecoming celebrations in downtown Leland shortly after a high school football game, stands as the deadliest in a series of violent incidents that plagued Mississippi that weekend. Tragically, other shootings were reported at 2 Mississippi universities during their respective homecoming festivities. It begs the question, what is driving this surge in violence, and how can we protect our communities from such devastating events? Authorities have remained tight-lipped about the motive behind the Friday night shooting in Leland, but the FBI has indicated that the gunfire appears to have stemmed from a disagreement among several individuals. But here's where it gets controversial. Could this be a simple explanation for such a horrific event? Or are there deeper, more complex factors at play that are being overlooked? The FBI spokesperson stated that other arrests are pending as the investigation continues, suggesting that the full picture is yet to emerge. This leaves us wondering who else might be involved and what their roles might be. The aftermath of the shooting painted a grim picture. 4 victims pronounced dead at the scene, abandoned shoes scattered across the pavement, and bloodstains marking the downtown street. Witness Kamish Hopkins recounted the horrific scene to the AP, describing the wounded and bleeding and the sight of 4 lifeless bodies on the ground. "It was the most horrific scene I'd ever seen," Hopkins stated, a sentiment that resonates with anyone who has witnessed the devastating impact of gun violence. Tragically, the shooting in Leland is just one of at least 14 mass killings in the U.S. in 2025, according to the Nonpartisan Gun Violence Archive. A mass killing is defined as an incident in which 4 or more victims are intentionally killed. And this is the part most people miss. These numbers aren't just statistics. They represent real people, real families, and real communities torn apart by violence. The sheer frequency of these events has reignited the debate over gun control, with many calling on the federal government to enact more stringent regulations. But Congress has, for the most part, been unwilling or unable to take decisive action. Why is it so difficult to find common ground on this critical issue? But the violence wasn't confined to Leland. In the small town of Heidelberg, on the east side of the state, the bodies of 2 people, including a pregnant woman, were discovered on a high school campus on Friday night. This shooting, which occurred on the same evening as Heidelberg High School's homecoming football game, resulted in the arrest of an 18-year-old man charged with 2 counts of murder and illegally possessing a gun on school property. The proximity of the shooting to the homecoming game raises serious concerns about safety and security at school events, adding to the weekend's tragic toll. 3 people were found with gunshot wounds on the Alcorn State University campus in Claiborne County on Saturday evening. One of the victims succumbed to their injuries. The shooting occurred after a homecoming game that drew a crowd of over 7,000 people. As of now, no arrests have been made in connection with this incident. Finally, in Jackson, a juvenile was shot in the abdomen near the tailgating area of Mississippi Veterans Memorial Stadium during a Jackson State University game. The victim was transported to a hospital, but details surrounding the shooting remain scarce, and no arrests have been announced. These incidents paint a disturbing picture of escalating violence across Mississippi. What steps can be taken to address the root causes of this violence and prevent future tragedies? Is it a matter of stricter gun control, improved mental health services, or a combination of factors? What are your thoughts on the surge of violence in Mississippi and across the nation? Share your perspectives and let's engage in a constructive dialogue about solutions.